Right before your timeline shifts, your conscious mind is the last to know. Your nervous system already feels it. Something inside you has been changing, and you may not have the language for it yet. You might have noticed it in the quiet moments, a strange stillness settling over you like fog before dawn. Things that used to keep you up at night somehow feel lighter. Worries that once gripped your chest have loosened their hold. Goals you chased with white-knuckled intensity now sit in your awareness without the same urgency. And instead of feeling liberated by this, you feel unsettled, because the mind interprets the absence of familiar intensity as something going wrong. But here is what no one tells you. That unsettling quiet is not a breakdown. It is not stagnation. It is not depression disguising itself as peace. It is your nervous system reorganizing at a level so fundamental that your conscious mind cannot keep up. And if you misread this signal, if you panic and try to force yourself back into the old emotional patterns, you will interrupt the most important shift of your life before it has the chance to complete itself. So stay here. Breathe into this. Because what we are about to explore is not theory. It is something your body already understands, something it has been trying to tell you for weeks, maybe months. And by the end of this, you will not only understand what is happening inside you, you will know exactly how to move with it instead of against it. Let us start with something that sounds paradoxical but is profoundly true. The shift does not begin with clarity. It does not begin with motivation. It does not begin with a vision of your future self appearing in some flash of insight. It begins with your nervous system going quiet. And that quiet, that strange, disorienting stillness, is the first signal that your timeline is already in motion. Most people miss it because they are looking for the wrong evidence. They are waiting for fireworks. They are waiting for the universe to send an unmistakable sign, a door flying open, a sudden rush of inspiration, a dramatic event that confirms everything is changing. But the quantum field does not work that way. The field does not announce itself with noise. It reorganizes in silence. And the first place that reorganization registers is not in your thoughts, not in your circumstances, not in the people around you. It registers in your body. Think about what happens right before a major weather system shifts. The air goes still. Birds stop singing. There is this eerie, suspended quality to everything, as if the atmosphere itself is holding its breath. That pause is not the absence of change. It is the precondition for it. The entire system is gathering coherence before it reorganizes into a new pattern. Your nervous system does the same thing. Before a new timeline becomes accessible, before your external reality can reorganize around a different version of you, your internal system must first release its grip on the old configuration. And releasing that grip feels nothing like what you have been taught to expect. You have been conditioned to believe that transformation is dramatic. That growth feels like fire. That evolution comes through intensity, through struggle, through pushing harder and wanting more. And sometimes it does. But the deepest shifts, the ones that actually change the trajectory of your life, those begin the body with a whisper so quiet you almost miss it. A softening, a release, a strange and unfamiliar neutrality that settles over you like snow. Think about a river that has been carving the same channel through stone for decades. The water does not announce that it is about to change course. There is no dramatic moment where the river declares its intention. The change begins underground, in the deep substrate, in the invisible pressure that has been building long before the surface shows any evidence of it. And then one day, without fanfare, the water finds a new path. Not because it forced itself there, because the conditions finally aligned for a different configuration to become possible. That is what is happening in you right now. The change is not beginning on the surface. It is not beginning in your circumstances, or your relationships, or your bank account, or your calendar. It is beginning in the substrate, in the deep, invisible architecture of your nervous system. And the quiet you have been feeling is the sound of that underground shift finding its new channel. This is not a small thing. This is not a minor adjustment. What is happening beneath the surface of your awareness right now is a fundamental reorganization of the system through which you create reality. And understanding that is the difference between cooperating with the most powerful process of your life and accidentally working against it. If this is already resonating with something you have been feeling, take a moment to hit the like button and subscribe so you do not miss what comes next. Let us talk about what is actually happening at the physiological level, because understanding this will change how you relate to everything you have been feeling. Your nervous system is not just a bundle of wires carrying signals. It is an antenna. It is a broadcasting system. Every moment of every day, your body is sending a signal into the field around you. And that signal is determined not by what you think, not by what you say, not even by what you consciously intend, but by the state of your nervous system. When your system is locked in chronic activation, when there is micro-tension in your jaw, tightness across your chest, a subtle vigilance scanning every room you walk into, your body is broadcasting a very specific frequency. That frequency is contraction, and contraction stabilizes familiar outcomes. It keeps collapsing the same reality over and over again because familiarity to the nervous system equals survival. It does not matter that the familiar reality is painful. It does not matter that the familiar patterns are limiting. The nervous system does not optimize for happiness. It optimizes for predictability. And as long as your body is broadcasting contraction, the field around you will continue to organize in ways that match that signal. This is the mechanism that most people never see. They look at their external circumstances and ask why nothing is changing. They try new strategies, they set new goals, they read new books, they attend new seminars, they make new plans, and still, the same patterns appear, the same relationship dynamics, the same financial cycles, the same emotional experiences wearing different costumes, and they conclude that they are doing something wrong, that they are not trying hard enough, that they are missing some key piece of information. But the information is not the issue. The signal is the issue, because no amount of new information can override the broadcast of a contracted nervous system. The field does not respond to what you know. It responds to what you are at the physiological level. And what you are at the physiological level is determined by the state of your nervous system, moment to moment, day to day, year to year. But here is where it gets interesting. Right before a genuine timeline shift, something changes in that broadcast. Your system begins to stop bracing, not because you forced it, not because you repeated affirmations until your jaw ached, not because you meditated for 3 hours and willed yourself into peace. It happens because something deeper than your conscious mind has already begun to let go. The anger that used to flare at certain triggers loses its voltage. The fear that kept you scanning for threats loses its intensity. The craving that drove you to chase validation loses its urgency. The attachment that bound you to certain outcomes softens at the edges. And you notice this not as a dramatic release, but as a quiet absence. Something that was always there, always humming in the background of your nervous system, has gone still. And in that stillness, you feel strange. You feel like something is missing. You feel like you should be more worried than you are, more motivated than you are, more emotionally engaged than you are. And this is the critical moment where most people make the mistake that keeps them locked in the old timeline. They interpret the quiet as loss. They think they are losing their edge, losing their passion, losing their drive. They panic at the neutrality because neutrality feels like nothing, and nothing feels dangerous to a system that has been running on intensity for years. So they do what the nervous system has always done when it encounters the unfamiliar. They try to re-stimulate themselves. They pick fights. They scroll through content designed to trigger emotional reactions. They revisit old wounds. They create urgency where none exists. They chase the feeling of intensity because intensity is the only state that feels real to them. And in doing so, they re-anchor the old pattern. They collapse the same timeline again. They pull themselves out of the superposition that was preparing to resolve into something entirely new. But you are here, and you are listening. And that means something in you already recognizes that what has been happening is not stagnation. It is preparation. Let that land for a moment. Just breathe with that. Preparation is not passive. That is important to understand. When a seed is underground before it breaks through the soil, it is not doing nothing. It is doing everything. It is reorganizing its entire structure. It is directing every available resource toward the emergence that is coming. From the outside, from the surface, there is no visible evidence of progress. There is only stillness, only dark, quiet soil. But beneath that surface, something extraordinary is underway. A complete transformation of form. A fundamental reorganization of what the seed is and what it is becoming. The emergence does not happen despite the underground quiet. It happens because of it. The quiet is not the delay. The quiet is the process. And you are in that underground phase right now. The surface of your life may look still, but beneath it, your system is doing the most sophisticated, most profound work it has ever done. I want to ask you something. When did you first notice the quiet settling in? When did the old intensity start fading without explanation? Drop that moment in the comments, even if it is just a few words. You might be surprised how many others here are in the exact same phase. Now let us go deeper into what this preparation actually involves, because it is far more sophisticated than most people realize. In quantum mechanics, before a system collapses into a defined outcome, it exists in superposition. Multiple possibilities coexisting simultaneously, none of them fixed, all of them potential. Collapse occurs when coherence stabilizes around one pattern, when observation becomes consistent enough, specific enough, clear enough. The wave of possibility resolves into a particle of experience. The same principle operates in your life, but not at the level most people think. It is not your thoughts that collapse reality. It is not your visualizations. It is not the vision board on your wall or the journal entry you wrote last Tuesday. What collapses your reality into a specific timeline is the coherence of your entire system. Mind, heart, and nervous system broadcasting the same signal. and that coherence is not something you manufacture through effort. It is something that emerges when interference is removed. This is the part that changes everything. You do not create coherence. You remove what disrupts it. And what disrupts it, more than anything else, is a nervous system locked in survival mode, broadcasting contraction into a field that can only mirror back what it receives. So when your nervous system begins to quiet, when the old emotional patterns start losing their charge, when the familiar intensity begins to fade, what is actually happening is that interference is decreasing. The static is clearing. The signal is becoming clean. And a clean signal collapses differently than a noisy one. A clean signal does not collapse from fear. It does not collapse from urgency. It does not collapse from the desperate need to control outcomes. A clean signal collapses from coherence. And coherence feels calm. It feels steady. It feels like that strange, unsettling quiet that has been settling over you. If this idea of clearing the static and becoming a coherent signal is resonating deeply with you, you will find the complete system for moving through every layer of this process in my book, Beyond the Frequencies, a quantum guide to consciousness mastery. What we are exploring today only touches the surface, and the book contains layers upon layers of understanding, from breaking free of survival static to living as the conscious broadcast itself. It is linked in the pinned comment below. Research in heart-brain coherence has demonstrated something remarkable. When your heart rhythm, your brain waves, and your emotional state synchronize, everything changes. Perception changes. You stop filtering reality through threat detection and start perceiving possibility. Decision-making changes. You stop choosing from reactivity and start choosing from clarity. Emotional interpretation changes. Events that would have triggered a cascade of stress responses now register as neutral information. And most importantly, the signal you broadcast into the field around you changes. It becomes coherent. It becomes clear. And clarity is what the field responds to. Think of it this way. Imagine you are standing at the edge of a vast ocean of possibility. Every potential version of your life exists in that ocean as a wave, unresolved, undefined, waiting for coherence to call it into form. Now imagine that your nervous system is the instrument through which you send a signal into that ocean. If the instrument is distorted by tension, by fear, by chronic activation, the signal it sends is scattered. It is noise, and noise does not collapse anything specific. It just reinforces the most familiar pattern because the field defaults to whatever is most energetically dominant. And in a noisy system, what is most dominant is always the past. But when the instrument becomes clear, when the nervous system regulates, when the emotional charge dissipates, when the body stops bracing against the present moment, the signal becomes coherent. And a coherent signal can reach deeper into the ocean of possibility. It can access configurations that were always there, but were never available to you because your system was too contracted to receive them. Now extend that image further. Imagine that the ocean does not just contain the future you have consciously imagined. It contains futures you have not yet had the capacity to imagine. Versions of your life that your current identity structure literally cannot conceive of because they require a frequency you have not yet stabilized. When your nervous system was contracted, when the signal was noisy, you could only access the probabilities that existed within range of that noise. But as the signal clears, as the frequency stabilizes into coherence, You begin to access probabilities that were always there but were outside the range of your previous broadcast. This is why timeline shifts often bring things that feel genuinely surprising. Not just better versions of what you expected, but entirely different configurations. Opportunities that did not fit any plan you made. Relationships that arrived through paths you never could have engineered. Circumstances that assembled themselves in ways your strategic mind could never have orchestrated. This is not luck. This is coherence accessing a wider range of the field. This is why the quiet matters. This is why the neutrality matters. This is why the strange, unfamiliar stillness you have been feeling is not something to fix. It is something to honor. Because it means your instrument is tuning itself. And what it is tuning toward is a frequency that your old identity could never have accessed. Now let us talk about identity, because this is where the shift becomes truly profound. A timeline is not a calendar event. It is not a date on a schedule. It is not something that happens to you from the outside. A timeline is a stabilized identity interacting with a probability field. Read that again in your mind. A timeline is a stabilized identity interacting with a probability field. Your external reality, the circumstances of your life, the people in it, the opportunities that appear, the obstacles that arise, all of it is a reflection of the identity that is stabilized within your nervous system. Not the identity you think you have. Not the identity you wish you had. The identity that is wired into your body through years of repeated emotional responses. Every time you react the same way to a trigger, you reinforce a neural circuit. Every time that circuit fires, it strengthens. Every time it strengthens, it becomes more automatic. And the more automatic it becomes, the more it defines you without your conscious participation. Your personality, the version of you that shows up every day, is not a fixed thing. It is a pattern of neural firing that has been reinforced so many times, it feels permanent. But it is not permanent. It is habitual. And habits can be interrupted. Consider what it actually means to have a habitual identity. It means that the way you interpret a difficult conversation, the way you feel when someone ignores you, the way you respond when things do not go according to plan, the way you treat yourself when you fail, all of these responses are not expressions of who you fundamentally are. They are expressions of a pattern that was installed through repetition. A pattern that your nervous system learned to run automatically because it once served a purpose. Maybe it protected you. Maybe it helped you survive a particular environment. Maybe it was the only response available to you at a time when you had fewer resources, less awareness, less capacity to choose differently. But that time is not now. And the pattern that served you then is limiting you now. And the most extraordinary thing is that you do not have to fight it. You do not have to attack it. You do not have to overcome it through sheer willpower. You simply have to stop feeding it. And your nervous system, in its profound intelligence, is already doing exactly that. This is exactly what is happening when your nervous system goes quiet. The habitual patterns are losing their reinforcement. The circuits that fired automatically for years are beginning to weaken. Not because you attacked them, not because you forced change, but because the energy that sustained them is being withdrawn. And when that energy withdraws, the identity those patterns supported begins to dissolve. This is what identity collapse actually feels like. It does not feel like an explosion. It does not feel like a dramatic breakthrough. It feels like quiet detachment. You notice you do not feel as invested in proving yourself. You do not feel as reactive to other people's opinions. You do not feel the same emotional charge around outcomes you once obsessed over. It can feel like you are standing between two versions of yourself, not fully the old you, not yet fully the new one. That in-between space is superposition at the identity level, and it is sacred territory. Pause with that for a moment. Feel what it means to be between versions of yourself. Not broken, not lost. Between. That is not a crisis. That is a threshold. What is the one thing your old identity held on to the hardest that you can feel yourself finally releasing? Share it in the comments. Not to explain it, just to name it. Sometimes naming it is what completes the release. Most people panic at the threshold. They feel the unfamiliarity of the in-between, and they scramble back to solid ground, even if that solid ground is the same painful, limited reality they have been trying to leave. Because the nervous system, when it encounters the unknown, defaults to what it knows. And what it knows is the old identity, the old emotional patterns, the old way of collapsing reality. So people re-stimulate themselves. They chase old emotions. They provoke familiar reactions. They seek reassurance from the very environments that reinforced the old pattern. And in doing so, they step out of superposition and collapse the same timeline again. But you do not have to do that. You can stay in the threshold. You can remain in the in-between. You can allow the unfamiliarity without reaching for the familiar. And if you can do that, if you can tolerate the discomfort of not knowing who you are becoming while simultaneously releasing who you were, something extraordinary begins to happen. Your baseline state recalibrates. The nervous system stops interpreting the unknown as danger. And when the unknown is no longer perceived as threat, the body stops broadcasting contraction into the field. This is the signal right before a new timeline becomes fully accessible. Not excitement, not intensity, not emotional fireworks. Regulation, steadiness, grounded neutrality. The ability to stand in uncertainty without collapsing into fear. Let us go even deeper now into the physical sensations that accompany this phase, because your body is leaving very specific clues. And if you do not recognize them, you will mislabel preparation as regression. One of the first things many people notice is a strange fatigue, not the exhaustion that comes from overwork or stress, not burnout. It feels more like integration. You sleep more deeply. You feel the need to rest more often. Your system seems to demand stillness in a way that feels almost involuntary. This happens because the brain is actively rewiring identity patterns, neural circuits that once fired automatically, the ones that sustained your old emotional responses, your old ways of interpreting reality, your old defensive strategies. Those circuits are quieting. And when synaptic pruning and restructuring occur, energy shifts inward. The body conserves resources to stabilize new coherence. This fatigue is not weakness. It is reconstruction. Your system is building something, and building requires energy. Honor the rest. Do not fight it. Do not interpret your need for stillness as laziness or lack of ambition. Your body is doing the most important work it has ever done, and it is doing it beneath the threshold of your conscious awareness. Think about what happens when a caterpillar enters its chrysalis. From the outside, nothing appears to be happening. There is no visible movement, no evidence of progress, no indication that anything significant is underway. But inside that chrysalis, something almost incomprehensible is occurring. The caterpillar does not simply grow wings, it dissolves. Its entire physical structure breaks down into a kind of biological soup. Every cell, every organ, every system that made it a caterpillar releases its form. And from that dissolution, from that complete letting go of the previous configuration, an entirely new structure emerges. The butterfly does not come from a caterpillar that worked harder. It comes from a caterpillar that surrendered completely to the process of becoming. The stillness of the chrysalis is not the absence of transformation. It is the container for it. Your rest, your fatigue, your need for quiet and integration, that is your chrysalis. Honor it as such. Another signal is the emotional neutrality we have been discussing, but experienced at a deeper level. You may notice that things which once brought intense highs or devastating lows now feel remarkably level. Conversations that used to charge you with energy or drain you completely now feel simply informational. Events that once triggered emotional spirals now pass through your awareness with minimal impact. This can feel deeply unsettling because intensity has been your reference point for meaning. You have been conditioned to believe that if something matters, it should feel intense. If a goal is real, it should burn inside you. If love is genuine, it should consume you. If growth is happening, it should hurt. But intensity is not alignment. Often, intensity is dysregulation. It is the nervous system in overdrive, interpreting everything through the lens of survival, amplifying signals that do not require amplification. When the nervous system begins to regulate consistently, emotional spikes reduce. The baseline flattens into steadiness. And steadiness, not intensity, is what allows quantum collapse to lock in cleanly. A coherent signal is not a loud signal. It is a clear one. There is a profound distinction between aliveness and intensity that most people have never been taught to make. Intensity is activation. It is the nervous system running hot, flooding the body with stress hormones, creating that charged, urgent, electric feeling that has been mistaken for passion for so long. Aliveness, true aliveness, is something entirely different. It is presence. It is the capacity to be fully here, fully open, fully engaged without the overlay of threat detection. It is the quiet hum of a system that is not bracing. It is the deep, steady warmth of a body that is not defending. When the intensity fades and the neutrality settles in, you are not losing aliveness. You are discovering what aliveness actually feels like without the noise of chronic activation layered over it. And for many people, this is the first time they have ever truly felt it. You might also experience moments of slight disorientation, as if time feels slower, or you feel more aware of observing than participating. You watch yourself in conversations instead of being fully consumed by them. You notice your thoughts arising instead of being swept away by them. You experience a gap between what happens and how you respond, a gap that was not there before. This is not pathology. This is perceptual recalibration. When the amygdala quiets its alarm system and prefrontal awareness increases, perception widens. You experience more space between stimulus and response. That space feels unfamiliar because you are accustomed to immediacy. Immediacy is survival wiring. Your old system was designed to react instantly because in the environment it was calibrated for, hesitation could mean danger. But you are no longer in that environment. You are in a new space, an expanded space, And the spaciousness you are feeling is not disconnection. It is coherence. It is the perceptual signature of a nervous system that is no longer collapsing reality from contraction. Some people describe this phase as feeling like they are watching their life from a slight distance. They respond instead of react. They listen more than they speak. They feel less urgency to fix, to control, to manage every variable. And here is why that matters in quantum terms. When observation becomes spacious rather than reactive, the probability field reorganizes differently around you. You are no longer collapsing outcomes from a state of contraction. You are observing from stability. And stable observation accesses different possibilities than contracted observation. The field does not just respond to what you want. It responds to the state from which you observe. Change the state of the observer, and you change what becomes available to be observed. This is the observer effect made personal. In quantum physics, the act of observation collapses a wave function into a specific state. The observer is not a passive witness. The observer is a participant in the creation of what is observed. And the quality of the observation, the state of the observer, determines what gets collapsed. A fearful observer collapses fearful outcomes. A contracted observer collapses contracted realities. A coherent observer, a regulated, spacious, stable observer, collapses something entirely different. When you move from reactive observation to spacious observation, you are not just changing how you feel. You are changing what you are capable of creating. You are changing the quality of the signal that collapses the wave function of your life. This is not metaphor. This is the literal mechanism through which your internal state determines your external reality. There is another physical phenomenon that occurs during this phase that catches many people off guard. The body begins to release stored emotional memory. You may feel brief waves of sadness without any clear trigger, moments of irritation that seem to arise from nowhere, flashes of nostalgia for times or places or versions of yourself that you thought you had moved past. These are not setbacks. They are not evidence that you are regressing. They are discharge. The nervous system is clearing stored emotional charge that anchored the previous timeline. Every unresolved emotion, every suppressed reaction, every moment of pain that was stored in the body instead of processed through it, all of that is energetic weight. And that weight is gravitational. It pulls you toward familiar configurations. It keeps collapsing the same patterns because the body remembers, even when the mind has moved on. When that stored charge begins to release, it surfaces briefly before it dissolves. You feel it pass through you like weather. And if you can allow it, if you can feel it without attaching a story to it, without analyzing it, without trying to figure out what it means, it clears. And with each clearing, the gravitational pull of the old timeline weakens. Attachment dissolves. And without attachment, probabilities shift. Breathe into that. Let your body hear what your mind just processed. The old emotions surfacing are not pulling you backward. They are releasing you forward. There is a practice that can help you move through these emotional releases with more grace. When a wave of unexplained emotion arises, do not reach for a story. The mind will immediately want to explain it, to trace it back to a source, to give it meaning, to build a narrative around it. Resist that impulse. Instead, place your awareness in your body. Feel where the emotion lives physically. Is it a pressure in your chest? a tightness in your throat, a heaviness in your shoulders. Find the sensation and breathe directly into it. Not to dissolve it, not to fix it, simply to be present with it. To let your body know that this feeling is allowed to move through, that it does not need to be analyzed or resolved or understood, that it is safe to pass, and then watch what happens. Most of the time, within a few minutes, the sensation shifts, the emotional charge moves, and what remains is a lightness, a subtle spaciousness, a sense that something that was held has been released. This is not a technique for managing emotions. This is a practice for allowing the body to complete what it started, for letting the discharge happen without interruption, for cooperating with the clearing that your system is already trying to do. You may also notice changes in your social dynamics during this phase, and this is where the shift can feel most confronting. Certain conversations that once felt stimulating now feel draining. Relationships that once felt essential now feel less resonant. You might crave solitude without feeling lonely. You might find yourself pulling away from environments that used to define your social world. This is not isolation. It is frequency recalibration. Your nervous system is tuning itself away from environments that reinforce the old identity. And because identity is relational, because so much of who you believe yourself to be is maintained through the mirror of other people's expectations and perceptions, shifting your frequency often means that the mirrors change too. This does not necessarily mean you need to abandon relationships or burn bridges. It means you need to honor the signal your body is giving you. If certain environments feel heavy, that heaviness is information. If certain conversations feel depleting, that depletion is feedback. Your system is telling you that the energetic cost of maintaining coherence in those spaces is too high right now. And coherence is the priority, because coherence is what collapses the new timeline. If you continue exposing yourself to emotional environments that reinforce the old pattern, stabilization slows. The signal gets noisy again. The field defaults back to the familiar. So the body subtly guides you toward stillness, toward solitude, toward environments that support the emerging frequency rather than the dissolving one. You may feel less interested in drama, less reactive to the news, less compelled to argue your position, less attached to being right, less invested in being understood. And this detachment is not indifference. It is internal quiet. It is the sound of a nervous system that has stopped signaling threat inside uncertainty. And that is the signal right before everything changes. Let me say that again because it is important. When your body feels safer in the unknown than it used to, when you can tolerate ambiguity without panic, when you can sit in silence without rushing to fill it, when you can experience desire without desperation, that shift is monumental. Because the field responds to safety, not the safety of certainty, not the safety of having everything figured out. The safety of a regulated nervous system that can remain open in the presence of the undefined. When your physiology communicates that you are safe even without immediate evidence of safety, you stop collapsing reality from fear-based expectation. And fear-based expectation is what has been building your old timeline all along. Now here is something that goes even deeper, something most people never consider. The timeline you are shifting into already exists. It is not something you need to create from scratch. It is not something you need to build through effort and force and willpower. In the quantum field, All probabilities exist simultaneously. The version of your life that reflects your deepest coherence, the relationships, the opportunities, the circumstances, the experience, all of it already exists as a probability wave waiting to be collapsed by a coherent observer. You do not need to figure out how to get there. You need to become the version of yourself that is already there. And becoming that version is not about adding something. It is about removing what is in the way. The tension, the contraction, the chronic activation, the emotional patterns that keep broadcasting the old signal, the identity structures that keep collapsing the familiar. Remove the interference, and the coherence that was always beneath it emerges naturally. You do not have to manufacture it. You have to stop disrupting it. Sit with that for a moment. The life you are reaching toward is not waiting to be built. It is waiting to be revealed. The way a sculptor does not create the figure inside the marble, but removes everything that is not the figure. The masterpiece was always there. The work is the removal, and the removal that is happening in you right now. The releasing of old patterns, the quieting of old circuits, the dissolution of old identity structures. That is the sculpting. That is the work, and it is already underway. This is why the quiet phase is so important. This is why the fatigue, the neutrality, the disorientation, the emotional releases, the social recalibration, all of it matters. Your system is not breaking down. It is clearing the channel. It is removing the static so that the signal can come through clean. And when the signal comes through clean, the field responds with precision, not with the scattered, inconsistent, frustrating manifestations of a noisy system, with the clear, aligned, almost effortless reorganization of a coherent one. If this message found you at exactly the right moment, consider sharing it with someone else who is in this quiet phase and does not yet understand what is happening to them. When you share something that carries this frequency, you create a ripple in the field that reinforces your own coherence while awakening it in another. That is not a metaphor. That is how entangled systems work. The act of extending awareness strengthens the signal in both directions. There is a practice that can support this process, and it is simpler than you might expect. It does not require hours of meditation. It does not require complex visualization. It does not require you to force any particular emotional state. The practice is this: when you notice the quiet, stay with it. When you feel the neutrality, do not run from it. When the old intensity fades and the unfamiliarity settles in, breathe. Place your hand on your chest. Feel your heartbeat. And instead of asking what is wrong, ask what is reorganizing. Instead of seeking stimulation, seek stillness. Instead of measuring your progress by how you feel compared to yesterday, measure it by how much space exists between your thoughts. Measure it by how long you can sit in uncertainty without reaching for your phone. Measure it by how many triggers pass through you without hooking your attention. Measure it by the quality of your silence. Because silence is not empty. Silence is coherent. Silence is the state from which new realities are born. And your capacity to remain in silence, to tolerate the quiet, to let the nervous system complete its recalibration without interference, that capacity is directly proportional to the magnitude of the shift that is available to you. Let us make this even more concrete. There is a specific practice that some of the most profound teachers of consciousness and nervous system science have converged on. and it requires only a few minutes, but it works at a level most practices never reach. Find a moment of stillness, ideally in the morning before the day's demands have fully activated your system. Sit comfortably. Close your eyes. And instead of trying to think positive thoughts or visualize a desired outcome, simply do this. Place your awareness on the center of your chest. Not your mind. Your awareness. Let it settle there like a stone sinking slowly through still water. And then breathe slowly, deeply, with the breath moving in and out through the chest. Not forcing, not controlling. Just allowing the breath to anchor your awareness in the body. After a few breaths, notice what is already there. Not what you want to feel, what is already present. The warmth, the pulse, the aliveness that exists before any thought arises. Sit with that for several minutes. Let your nervous system receive the message that the body is here. The body is safe. The body does not need to brace. This is not relaxation for its own sake. This is coherence training. You are teaching your system that stillness is safe, that the unknown is not a threat, that the body can remain open in the absence of certainty. And every time you practice this, you are building the physiological foundation for a different kind of reality collapse. Here is another layer to this that is worth sitting with. The version of you that is emerging does not need the same things the old version needed. It does not need constant validation. It does not need external proof that it is on the right path. It does not need to understand every step before it takes one. It does not need to control outcomes. It does not need to know the timeline of the timeline. The emerging version of you operates from a fundamentally different relationship with uncertainty. Where the old version saw uncertainty as threat, the new version sees it as space. Where the old version needed to know, the new version is comfortable not knowing. Where the old version collapsed reality from urgency, the new version allows reality to organize around coherence. And this is not something you achieve through willpower. It is something that happens naturally as the nervous system completes its reorganization. You do not have to force yourself into trust. You do not have to convince yourself that everything is working out. You do not have to override your fear with positive thinking. You simply have to stop interrupting the process that is already underway. Your body knows what it is doing. Your nervous system knows what it is doing. The intelligence that orchestrates the beating of your heart, the healing of your wounds, the breathing of your lungs while you sleep. That same intelligence is orchestrating this shift. It does not need your conscious mind to manage it. It needs your conscious mind to stop interfering with it. Think about the last time your body healed a physical wound. You did not have to instruct your immune system. You did not have to consciously direct the cellular repair. You did not have to understand the biochemistry of inflammation and regeneration to allow it to happen. The intelligence was already there. The process was already underway. All that was required of you was to not interfere, to not pick at the wound, to not expose it to conditions that would disrupt the healing, to rest, to nourish, to allow. The same intelligence is at work now. The same process is underway, and the same principle applies. Do not pick at the wound of the old identity. Do not expose yourself unnecessarily to conditions that disrupt the coherence building inside you. Rest. Nourish. Allow. The intelligence is doing what intelligence does. and it is doing it with a precision and a thoroughness that your conscious mind could never replicate. So here is the invitation, and it is simple, but it is not easy. For the next period of your life, however long this phase lasts, practice non-interference. When the quiet comes, let it come. When the neutrality settles, let it settle. When the old emotions surface and release, let them pass without building a narrative around them. When the fatigue asks you to rest, rest. When the solitude calls you inward, go inward. When the old intensity tries to pull you back, notice it, feel it, and let it move through you without acting on it. This is not passivity. This is the most active thing you can do, because you are actively choosing not to collapse the old pattern. You are actively choosing to remain in superposition. You are actively choosing coherence over familiarity. And that choice, made quietly, made in the body, made in the space between stimulus and response, that choice is what collapses the new timeline. You do not need to see it yet. You do not need to understand it yet. You do not need evidence that it is working. The evidence comes after the collapse, not before. Before the collapse, there is only the quiet, only the preparation, only the strange and beautiful discomfort of becoming someone you have not yet met. And your nervous system already knows who that is. It has been preparing for this. The signals are not random. The fatigue is not random. The neutrality is not random. The emotional releases are not random. The social shifts are not random. Every single thing you have been experiencing is part of an intelligent reorganization that is moving you toward a version of reality that matches the coherence you are building inside. Trust the quiet. Trust the process. Trust the body that has been carrying you toward this threshold with more wisdom than your mind could ever calculate. There is one more thing worth understanding before we close this exploration, and it may be the most important piece of all. The field does not respond to what you want. It responds to what you are. Not what you think you are. Not what you tell yourself you are. What you actually are at the level of your nervous system, your emotional baseline, your physiological state. You can want a new life with every fiber of your conscious mind, but if your body is still broadcasting the old signal, the field will continue to organize around that signal. This is not a punishment. It is physics. The field is a mirror. It reflects coherence, and coherence is not a thought. It is a state. It is the state of your entire system, unified, aligned, broadcasting a single clear frequency into the ocean of possibility. When your nervous system completes this reorganization, when the old patterns have fully released, when the new baseline has stabilized, when coherence is no longer something you are trying to achieve but something you simply are, the field will respond. And it will respond with a precision and a speed that will astonish you. Doors will open that you did not push. Opportunities will appear that you did not chase. People will arrive that you did not seek. Circumstances will reorganize in ways that your old mind could never have planned. Not because the universe is rewarding you, because the universe is reflecting you. The coherent you, the regulated you, the version of you that is no longer collapsing reality from fear, but allowing it to organize around truth. That version of you is not far away. It is not years of work ahead of you. It is not on the other side of some impossible transformation. It is right here. right beneath the noise, right beneath the old patterns, right beneath the tension and the fear and the chronic activation that has been running your system for so long. It is the you that exists when the interference stops. And the interference is stopping. You can feel it. That is why you are here. That is why these words resonate. That is why something in you recognizes this not as new information, but as confirmation of something you already knew at a level deeper than language. Your timeline is shifting. Your nervous system already knows, and the only thing required of you now is to let it happen. Not to force it, not to rush it, not to measure it, not to doubt it, to let it happen, to breathe, to rest, to trust the intelligence that has been guiding this process long before your conscious mind became aware of it. The quiet is not the absence of progress. The quiet is the sound of a new reality being born inside you. And when it is ready, when the coherence is stable, when the signal is clean, the external world will have no choice but to reorganize around what you have become. Stay in the frequency. Stay in the stillness. Stay with yourself through this threshold. Because what is on the other side is not just a better version of your circumstances. It is a completely different relationship with reality itself. One where you are no longer reacting to life, but creating it. Not through force, through coherence, not through effort, through alignment, not through wanting, through being. You are closer than you think. Your body already knows the way. Let it lead. If something in this resonated at a level beyond the intellectual, if you felt it in your chest or your breath, or the stillness between your thoughts, leave a single word in the comments that captures what you are feeling right now. Not an explanation. Just one word. Let that word be your anchor for this phase. And if you are ready to stay in this frequency, to keep going deeper, to let this process continue with support and understanding, subscribe to this channel, not for content, for coherence, for a space that mirrors back the version of you that is emerging. We will be here. The field will be here. And you, the real you, the one beneath the noise, you are already here. You have always been here. Now you are simply remembering. And if you felt that restless energy before this quiet phase began, that unexplainable pull that something bigger was coming, go watch. If you're feeling restless, this message is for you. It will show you exactly what was activating inside you before this shift took hold, and why that restlessness was the first signal your timeline was ready to move.